Hey, it's James Tipton, and welcome to the next Invincibility Tips Hangout. It's where we talk about the commitments, mindsets, gifts, and the superpowers to unleash your greatest potential in life and business. We got a special guest with us here, Chris Camp.
Hello, welcome, James. Hi, thanks for having me today.
Hey, yeah, we're going to talk about the sixth invincibility tip today. Uh, this is the sixth core commitment, the sixth superpower that we can unleash onto this world, and the sixth wealth building asset as well. And this is a beast of a tip to go over. So I hope you guys are
No
excited.
doubt.
And we do these hangouts to really just engage with the community, have an open opportunity for people to ask us questions. There is a place to comment down below this video. You can ask us anything you want. And also, I know a lot of people are chatting with us on Facebook at the same time. That's okay too. We're here for you. And also, if you are affiliated with us, you can take the link up above this video, and you can put it on your own page and get money with us as well. That is
hmm
available for you as well.
They just have to put their affiliate link at the end, right?
Yeah, yeah, or you know how to go about doing that as an affiliate with us who go through the training. The buttons all code to you. Um, But we're here to really just kind of hang out as we're going over these tips and bringing these forward for you, because these are some concepts that have really revolutionized my life and took this complexity that was the business world, that was the idea of making money, wealth building, was totally new to me. So concepts that didn't relate to me, and I had to learn how to internalize this process and approach it with a willpower that seemed to, at least for me, align with nature, align with
hmm
the universe.
Sure.
Um, so I want to share with you something that happened to me uh, about 4 years ago. It was 2012, and this was kind of like after I had failed in business, after I had lost my home. Uh,
Right. I think you gave me a bit of that story last
yeah,
week, so
yeah,
we'll get
lost.
to
This is
that.
after
It's
that,
great.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that happened, I ended up qualifying for a grant to get my master's degree, and I went to a university in Fairfield, Iowa, known as the Maharishi University of Management, and I was actually on a meditation course there. They have a meditation retreat there called Invincible America.
Uh-huh.
And I was on the IA course, the Invincible America course, practicing these advanced forms of meditation and yoga. And, uh, and really, that's kind of how I initially came up with the concept for the Invincibility Mastermind. Um,
Uh-huh.
was this practice of yoga, and that I was learning and practicing and doing while I was studying business at the same time. And I have one of these books here. This is the book that I base a lot of my concepts off of. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Full leadership, building peak performance organizations by harnessing the unlimited power of consciousness by Harold Horon, PhD. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and
Is he a
reading,
TM practitioner?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he practices TM. Um, and this book talked about the different levels in business, and
Yes.
how, as we're building organizations, as we're building businesses, as we're building communities, there's different levels of consciousness, really, that you can be aware of as you're building your business. Uh, the first one is like task based, and then it goes into process based, value based, and then ultimately consciousness based.
Uh-huh.
This made sense to me as I was learning how to be a business consultant for sustainability, when realizing, there's so many businesses out there that are operating on these lower level frequencies, these
Mm-hmm.
these lower levels of awareness, right? They're not being
Right.
aware of, at the early stages, it's all about the task, right? You have to do these things, and then you
Right.
get paid, you make money, you have a result, and then
Sure.
as the business grows, as
Techniques. Yeah.
people involved in the business then start to think about, okay, wait, but what about the process for how I'm doing the task? Is
Mm-hmm.
there a way where we can do the task more efficiently, where we can get more pleasure out of doing the task, where we
Yeah.
can offer more value? And then we
Right.
get into the value base, where we start thinking about the value that we give to people, and
Yes.
uh, and then it also we start thinking about ourselves, people in the organization as well. And we start thinking about not just the people that we're serving, but also the people that are working with us, right?
Right.
And that's when we develop a sense of pure consciousness. We enter the fourth state, which is a conscious business,
Yes.
where we're both focused on the well-being of those that are working with us, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the well-being of those that we're serving. This is
Yeah.
where we kind of reach uh, a stage in which very few businesses have actually accomplished, but we're starting to see some of these businesses now start to operate in the 21st century. The Empower business is one business that is one of the only business actually that I really see kind of exemplifying this fourth level state of business, where the value is in the consciousness that we share with people.
Right. Certainly, there's a lot of businesses online and somewhat that are trying to evolve and move ahead in terms of how they perceive themselves and work with their employees. Google comes to mind,
Yeah.
and so they try to. Some have a really good atmosphere with ever evolving kind of concepts and ways of approaching their business.
So learning these invincibility tips that I'm sharing with through these webinars, through these hangouts, and going along with the Empower program is a means and a ways to uh, activate the acceleration process of raising the frequency in your own life and in business too. Because one of the things that I realized was, some of the greatest, the people that affect the world are ultimately the people, but it's how the people go about affecting the world and changing the world is the business, right? We say,
Yeah.
what's an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone who shapes the world in their own image. So if we're talking about changing the world, right, creating more of a positive influence, we want to change people first of all, and then it's how people change business and go about doing their business that is ultimately going to affect the planet.
Yeah.
So we look at that, and that's why we focus a lot on business and community building in these webinars.
Yeah.
Um,
And we have a lot of integration here with the iPass and the Empower system, and it's very advanced as far as business. And you were talking about the one thing that kind of ties things together, and in a way, I see that as meditation. And you're talking about invincibility, and I really that reminds me of your teacher Maharishi, because he really came out with a lot of how this worked with business and how it related to meditation. And I know a lot of the teachings you learn relate the different areas of business to that, to ever increasingly deeper levels. So
right? Yeah, yeah. Maharishi is
some
where I get
praise there,
a
yeah.
lot of it from.
Sure.
Uh, I want to share a story about my first experience with invincibility. I was 3 years old. I was actually back in Fairfield, Iowa, or near there, and uh, I had met a new friend, another kid who's about 3 years old, same as me, and he said his name was Mario. I was like, Mario? Really? Because I had just started playing Super Mario Brothers. It was like 1988 or something. Super Mario Brothers came on, and you can imagine my brain. When I was 3 years old, I thought this was actually Mario, right?
From the
So
video game.
yeah, like the video game. So I had this metal racket that I was playing with. I don't know. I was like pretending it was like a sword or something. I was using my imagination. I was a kid, but it was, it's like my super weapon. It was like a metal racket that I was playing with,
Yeah.
and I asked him. I was like, hey, you want to play superheroes with me? Like, what are your superpowers? And he was like, uh, you know, uh, I I'm invincible, right? And I'm like, I'm invincible, right? And I kind of scratched my head. I was like, really?
They hit
You
gorillas
are?
with a giant hammer.
And I was like, well, okay. And I took the metal racket that I had and I flung it at him, and it hit him right in the jaw. He dropped on his knees and started gushing blood out of his mouth. His mom comes like running over. He's like, "What did you do to him?" Like, I was like, "You told me he was invincible," and that's like what I had to realize, that just
Yeah,
because you say you are invincible doesn't mean that you're a god, right?
yeah, we're not suggesting this kind of
Superpower.
thing.
Um, the term invincibility, really has to do with your inner core stability. And I always say, the gift of invincibility is determination, right? Because, I mean, sometimes we're a little late hanging out with these webinars, or, we always, if the content doesn't always get off, like, at the same time, the same schedule every day, it's going to come out eventually. It's
Right, right,
be there because it's invincible. We have that quality of determination, and
right.
when you have that, when you're building your brand, or when you're building your community, or when you're about to share your ideas, or share your dreams and visions for the world, that when you have that quality of determination, that's really what brings it. So don't think that you can just come on one of these webinars and learn the secret to invincibility, and then you're never going to experience any suffering ever again.
That
Um,
would be nice.
but it's the quality that we can overcome suffering, and I do believe that when you take these core principles to heart, that we will arrive at a state where there is no more suffering. Right? We've resolved all conflict, and
That's the goal, sure.
we have uh, healed these wounds. And for many of us, that's the process of business. That's why we get into business in the first place, is we want to heal these wounds that humanity faces. Um, and when I was a kid, when I was younger, when I was innocent, I didn't know what these wounds were. I was innocent to all of it. You have to live life a little bit to get hurt, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I learned about them in the order that you have them, they cover so much of what we experience on such a deep level that when I saw three or four of them, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Because
All right,
it's
so yeah,
yeah,
let's review a little bit, because we're on the sixth one. This is actually the final wound. This is actually the conclusion of all the wounds, and then after this, we move on into just the powers.
and
Just
with these wounds, James provides a solution, of course. So
right. So we have there's a
we have
formula
an out.
for overcoming each of these wounds, right? So when you experience one of these wounds, maybe in your life or your business, it's a very low vibrational state, right? It's pain, suffering. Then
Right.
we apply these formulas, simple three-step formula for each one, that raises the frequency, raises the vibration. So then we can enter into action, right, with a feeling of this state of empowerment, right?
Absolutely.
So first there's repression, right? Uh, then there's denial, right? And there's shame, right? then there's uh, guilt, right? And then there's rejection, right? And then the sixth one here is separation.
Mm.
And I was feeling separated when I was living in this small, tiny little one-room apartment in Iowa while I was getting my MBA.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I spent all of my time just studying, reading books, going to lectures, and if I wasn't doing that, then I was just practicing meditation and yoga.
Yeah.
And
Golden bubble.
it's the golden bubble, yeah. And uh, and I felt really separated after a couple years. I remember it was winter, the snow had piled up high, it was completely gray everywhere, and none of that really mattered, because I was focused on um, my tasks, my processes, my value, my consciousness.
Sure.
Um, except that I did miss my friends. I miss my family, my community, and I
And
was
when you say friends, were a lot of those people on the West Coast or from the West
yeah I
Coast?
miss I
Yeah.
missed California.
Oh, yeah. So you had been here and then you were out there and then you came back.
Yeah, so I was separated, from California, my home. I was
Yeah.
separated from the people here. I was separated,
From a
and
lot of your friends, sure.
yeah, yeah, and more importantly, or kind of, I mean, what's really relevant for probably people watching this video is I was separated from opportunity. There wasn't, a lot of places of employment in that small little town that I lived in, where there was basically a vacant lot to my left and a cornfield to my right.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a little different socializing there.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, I was separated from opportunity,
Mm.
right? Maybe like how people, could be separated from your business, right?
Yeah.
Um, when we're in business, right, we need customers, right? We need people to come and go and buy our products and experience our value.
Right. Traffic.
Right, right. So what this core wound goes into in business and how we solve this is how do we solve people being separated from your message, right? People being
Mhm.
separated from your value. And how do we close that gap? How do we bridge that area of separation? And that's what we're going to go into today.
You know what comes into mind real quick is that in the last probably 15 or 16 years, especially since about the turn of the millennium, social media has made quite a few huge leaps and bounds as far as the way we can connect and the way people connect with their world and have different constant connections. They also create a certain amount of separation. Sometimes people have their face on their phone all the time, and that's a
Yeah,
sort of separation too. So
well,
it has both sides.
but that's pivotal that you bring that up because actually what happened to me is I began to go on social media. I began to use Facebook and I would read the stories from my friends. I would see their pictures and read their stories, and I would get to kind of live vicariously, through their lives. And I get to see pictures of San Francisco and the things that my friends were doing, and that really saved me in a lot of ways. It gave me that just the emotional state that I could feel centered in, and
Right,
and remember that hey, life still exists, right? We are still connected,
right.
and
And this Periscope gives even a whole new dimension. Live Facebook, that brings things live now. So that's a
right. So it's like all of these different um, parts of media where we have ways of using video, sharing text, sharing pictures, sharing audio. It closes the gap, right? So all of a sudden,
absolutely.
you can be instantly connected with all people around the world. Um, but still, it takes a another edge, because even though we have that ability where we can communicate in that way,
Yeah.
uh, what happens is still a lot of people don't. You have the ability, but there's something else that slips in, that uh, gets a little deeper. If I was like stabbing you with a sword in your wound, and I was like, okay, well, we're separated. Yeah, I was like, oh, but you could just reach out to me on social media, and there's, oh, let me just stab the sword inside of you. But uh, I'm not going to because I doubt you. um,
Mhm.
there's this shadow that creeps in, that why we really are separated, why people are
Mhm.
separated from your business is because of doubt, right?
Sure.
If they
Absolutely.
if they doubt you, then they're not going to want to be connected with you because they don't see why they should be why they should put in the effort, or more, they doubt themselves. People think,
A little bit of both, I think. Yeah.
right? So if they have, an opportunity of, hey, look, we can start using social media, we can start using blogging, to, create community, to create business, to raise the consciousness of humanity and affect the planet positively. uh, but you doubt yourself, your own capabilities, that, oh, I could never create an effective story, or, you know, my value could never be worthwhile to be appreciated by others.
Yeah.
Um,
That's where people on blogs have the opportunity to sort of express themselves a little more intellectually and sometimes value, sometimes it'll just be articles or whatever and also papers or news, but people can transmit a lot of their ideas or, a longer, more extensive insight into things. So that's part of the platform we have here at Empower is a top of the line blogging system.
so that's what I want to do, is share a little bit about this formula for how we get rid of doubt, or we can never really get rid of it, but how we raise the frequency around that vibration of doubt so that we can cure this wound of separation. And then I just want to talk about a little, just some of the books we're reading, because we realize that reading is so important for curing separation and for raising this vibrational frequency. I'm going to ask Chris to share a book that he's reading. I got some books that I'm reading. And then,
Yeah,
if
James was saying it was the sixth step related to this sixth step of the wound. He has different paradigms of things that are involved with these steps, and he's put them together in a very interesting system. So, and then reading is one of the six steps within our company.
Yeah, so yeah, the sixth step of the program, the sixth wound here, I'm drawing parallels to illustrate a unified field that connects
Yes.
things. So, in the practice of yoga, which means unity, there's 8 limbs, or 8 branches, that you can be aware of to practice and gain the state of unity, right? If that's through meditation or physical practices, or through devotional activities. And it makes sense that there would be a same kind of 8 branches or 8 limbs that would make up business. If business is um, the activating process of provoking change in the world from the humans,
No doubt.
practicing this state of unity. So
Absolutely.
I find it very interesting that there are these parallels. So one of the things that we can look at through this book, and I'm just going to kind of pull out some of these books while I'm discussing, because this is really where I get a lot of my stuff. Maharishi's Yoga,
Hmm.
The Oil Path to Enlightenment. This is where I get the stuff on the. It's called Ashtanga, which is
Hmm.
the 8 limbs of
Eight
yoga.
limbs of yoga. Yeah.
So I'm correlating, those 8 limbs with the core commitments that are the 8 Empower core commitments that we teach here in this program. Uh,
Hmm.
and if all is successful, right,
Yeah.
we're gonna draw in Robert Kiyosaki's Business of the 21st Century and see how actually doing those commitments unlocks a wealth building assets. And in this book, he has 8 wealth building assets that he
Uh-huh. That's great.
yeah. So that's another parallel too. This is where things get deep, and where you're going to find some of the best personal development knowledge I've ever come encountered with is Richard Rudd's Gene Keys,
Gene
Unlocking Higher
Keys.
Purpose Inside
Mm.
Your DNA. And this is where I actually get the formulas for unlocking the superpowers. So I'm like, hey, we call ourselves Empower Network with Empower Mentoring Crew. I think it's time that people understand how you can unlock your superpowers. So in this book, um, there's
I,
actually 64 formulas for unlocking 64 different powers, and I'm going to go over one of those specifically today.
that's great. Well, we got a lot of material to work with.
Yeah, so there's this shadow, right? Each power has a shadow, right?
Hmm.
And then there's a gift that's correlated with that. So the formula is to embrace the shadow, release the
Hmm.
gift, and embody the superpower. They're called superpowers. They're also known as cities. Um, they're light words. And when you reach this superpower, I call them, it's a vibrational state where you're at such a high frequency that you can enter into your life, right, and really have a lot more effect, right? So when we're going into this
Okay.
process um, now of reading, right, this 6-4 commitment of reading, and I'm a son of an English professor. My father's name is Dr. Tipton. Maybe you've heard of him. He's a best-selling author. Um, he's been a discover books.
Oh wow. His
Uh,
name isn't James too, is it?
it's James Tipton, yeah,
How about that? Okay.
yeah. So
Thought I'd heard the name.
right, but he's an English teacher, and he brought me up learning about language and you know, and writing, and he'd always just give me lectures at the every dinner table about different books and
Oh,
literature.
that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's also a meditation teacher as well. He taught me a lot about consciousness. And one of the things that I did early on before I got involved in this was I was an editor for I work with people on various media projects, novelists, and help people develop their stories. And he would
Nice.
always say, you want to read and read and write and write. And
Hmm.
that's kind of a big part about what we do here, developing people's stories. You can write your story through your blog, through social media, and people, all day I'm like, talking to people, meeting with people. I'm like, tell me your story, share with me, what is your story, and people are like, hey, what do you mean my story?
Yeah, I
Like
think that was one of the first things you
that's
said to
that's
me.
one of the first
I
things I
thought
say to people.
that's
I'm
really
like,
good.
hey,
Yeah.
that's also kind of how I say hi to people. I'm like, hey, what's up?
What's your
Share me
story?
your
Yeah.
story. And some people, they don't know their story, or like I was saying before, they doubt that they have a story, or they doubt that their story is worthwhile. So, you know, how
And
do
I can imagine, I don't know if you've encountered this, but as people uh, delve deeper into their more or less experiences of life, most people have quite a few interesting stories.
I would say if everyone has lived here on life, you have an interesting story.
Yeah.
Um, but so how do you uh, develop your story, right? How do you get it to the you want to affect the world,
Hmm.
right? You affect the world through your story, through the actions that you take. So one of the first things, you want to be able to write a good story. Read and read. Tell me about what you're reading. If it's not about what you're doing in your life.
Right.
I'm blessed to have this business model where I'm able to spend a lot of free time at home relaxing, and I get to spend time reading books. So it's part of like my lifestyle is
Hmm.
hey, we get to relax and read a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and
And one thing I've heard about earners actually in business though too is that when you get into people who are higher earners, entrepreneurs, one of their common denominators is that they read a lot. They read, and
well,
that is a common trait of the successful that they read a lot.
earners
It's a
are
it's a
learners and leaders
yeah.
are readers.
Leaders
That's
are
I'm the reason.
leaders are readers.
But it's like kind of so. But what books do you go to? Where do you find the will, the desire to go out and learn? What are you reading? Curious George or uh,
The Giving Tree.
right? I mean, it's this gift of inquiry, right? That we have, where we begin to raise our vibration, right? You're still, maybe you still have some of that doubt there about something, about yourself or about a specific thing, but now we're not just wallowing in it. We've come to this higher state of vibrations, higher frequency of inquiry,
Yeah.
and now we have that inquisitive mind, right? Where we're starting to imagine, right? Uh,
Yeah.
a little bit more about what's possible. And when we inquire,
Yes.
sometimes we can inquire with Google, we can inquire with a mentor. Uh,
Hmm.
and what does Google or mentors usually lead us to? Well, a good book
Right. Right.
from.
Or
Um,
knowledge, so when we inquire into something, then we start to find out the answer.
right? And so maybe this answer that we start to find out about brings us to a realization of why we're separated, right? Why are we
Right.
separated from the people that could appreciate our value?
Yes. We see the wounds.
Right? We start to not only see the wound, but see how we can go about resolving it, so that we can bring people closer together. So maybe
Yes.
you might have a realization of hey, I'm actually not as healthy as I need to be. I'm actually not as wealthy as I need to be, or I don't have the depth in my relationships as I would like, or I'm not experiencing love or happiness
Sure.
uh, to the point where I feel like I deserve, right?
Right. And most of us have challenges in a lot of these areas.
Yeah, those are kind of the foundational pillars, right?
Yeah, it's part
So
of being human.
we start to inquire, right? If you're concerned about health, inquire, how many grams of sugar are you supposed to eat a day? How many calories are you supposed to take? What's a good amount of time to spend exercising, right? You can start, if you're doubting the way you look, I'm using this as an example, I'm not, pointing fingers at anyone. Um, you can start to inquire among the ways of how you can go about achieving better results in that area. But it takes the raise in frequency, the raise in vibration for you to get out of the self doubt mode and start getting into the inquiry mode.
Definitely.
And sometimes we have to embrace the doubt first. I say doubt is a positive paradox because it's a very positive power, actually, because when we begin to doubt things, um, doubt our abilities in certain aspects of our lives, then we can start to realize, okay, well, I do doubt that I'm capable of getting on stage in front of these people, for example, or I doubt my ability to get my message out to this number of people if we're talking about business or marketing. If you're doubting yourself being able to give your value to a certain number of people, well, then we inquire. We switch the the saying in our head of the I can't, right? Because when you're doubting yourself, you're saying I can't, I don't know how, I'm not that kind of person, I've never done that before. And
Right.
then when you raise your frequency, you raise your vibration, you get to the gift, right? And you get out of the shadow, and you get to the gift. And
Right.
now we're inquiring, we're saying, how can I, right? How
Right. Asking the right questions as opposed to the wrong ones.
exactly, exactly. And when you uh, when you continue down this path of asking questions and inquiring into your personal development and how you would like to grow, we achieve this superpower, right, of truth. It's
Yeah.
truth.
Very.
Um,
That's a powerful one.
and truth is something that you can embody,
Yeah.
right? It's a city. It's a superpower. You can say, "I am truth,"
I am truth. Yes.
because
Yes. And
looking around at yourself, at the world, at the interactions, there truly is nothing that isn't truth. Truth is the divine realization of the present moment, what is here and now. And when you can enter into your actions, into your marketing, into your relationships, into the ideas that make you happy, um, with this embodiment of this superpower of truth, then
true that, right?
exactly, then you have such this higher frequency vibration that the positivity that resonates from you will begin to attract more and more people, right? People will see uh, you telling the truth, right? People like to. I mean, sometimes the truth hurts, right? um, but
Sure, sure.
people are attracted to the truth. That they want to know the truth, and if you can share with them, the truth about who you are, right? The
Yeah.
truth about what makes you happy. The truth about uh,
People want to know more about you then. Yeah.
the truth about your business, right? The value that you give to people, right? How you're changing the world, your mission path, right? We all have the mission statement for our businesses, right? For your day-to-day action plan is
Absolutely.
is, is truth. Huh? People need to know that, um, to again bridge that gap of separation,
hmm I
right?
had the honor of reading the self-confidence formula for the Think and Grow Rich call this morning. That was
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
nice. How did that go? Do you want to? Can you share that with us now?
Yeah, it's basically from Napoleon Hill's work at the beginning of the call. We have a free Think and Grow Rich call that I'm on Monday to Friday, and they have someone read this self-confidence formula at the beginning, which was written by Napoleon Hill, which is like, kind of a business, personal statement. So I got to read it to the group of hundreds, whoever steps out. So it's
Wow.
an honor. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you Can you share the self confidence formula with us now? You
Oh boy, I'd have to bring it up. How about if I'll have it up next week, and then I'll share it.
okay? Is there
Have
a
it on an open window.
is
So
there another book you wanted to share with us while we're talking about reading? With
absolutely, absolutely, and and when it comes to success, like I was saying before, what I've heard from different leaders is That's what they say. Leaders are readers, and it seems like some of the more successful people spend more time reading than you would even imagine. Because it's how they stay afloat and stay in tune with what's going on, and even the uh, trending things. People have new books, and so people stay in tune with what's going on with people's books and stuff like that. This book I have here is I don't know if you can see it, The Big 365 by Pat Simpson. And I heard about it on that call that I was on in the morning. He's one of the people that gets on the call. He's a happiness expert, he calls himself, or a happiness engineer. That's his title. That's a great title. And I'm going to read just this little saying, because there's daily sayings in this book. I like books with daily sayings, and some of the larger books usually have like a verse, and then there's a longer, commentary on a verse. And a lot of times, if you're trying to get through some of these longer or historical books, you'll go through a verse and then read, an extended part of it, or you'll read a chapter in a book, like that. Here's a small saying. These are just daily sayings. So, if you cannot lift someone's spirit, then say nothing. If someone tries to hurt you, laugh. It feels good. You were born a winner, so you can laugh in the face of loser talk.
I like that a lot. That's brilliant. That's something that can stick with you.
Yeah, this one's just kind of lighthearted, so I like it. It's got a little smiley face in the corner of each page.
That's sweet.
Daily dose of happiness, it says.
So what I want to do now, I guess we've shared the formula for curing the sixth and final core wound that humanity faces of separation, and we do that by embracing doubt, right?
Yes.
Releasing inquiry and embodying this superpower called truth, right? And now what I'd like to do is, uh, well, if we have some time, I'd like to just kind of jump into like a marketing strategy and kind of share how this quality of reading can actually bridge this gap of separation and kind of show a fundamental example of how this works.
Sure, and now, we're talking about reading as one of these core fundamentals, and it just seems like we can go on and on about the reading, but the business team we have and the system we work is very integrated and has a very specific system, and James has quite a specific system of different areas of purpose with the invincibility. So that's very interesting. So we have a very multi-layered, but very specific systems that we're working with, and that's how we work with our blog and our marketing business.
So I'm gonna jump over to screen share here, and let me see if you can. Let me know if you can see this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of gonna do this live for you. So it's like here we have, our story, right? That people can read, right? And then what happens is they go from the story to a funnel, right? And I'll explain what a funnel is in just a little bit. And then the funnel goes to your value. Is your business offer your opportunity. Maybe you're affiliated with Empower, or you're an affiliate with another program, but you have some
Sure,
value that you're
sure, or any kind of business for that matter.
right. So this is just kind of like a really simple, like fundamental way of you know how you can use this concept to make money for you now, right, in your business.
Right.
Um, so if we begin with the story, let's say this can be on. I'll just put some other things like social media. I want to just give like an example of Facebook, right? You can share a story post on Facebook, uh, and this could be a short story, 1,000 words post. You can share stories like this on your fan page, and maybe there can be a picture on there. But at the end of that story, there'll be a clickable link, right, that will bring people to a funnel. Now, what a funnel is it's basically it's the beginning of direct response marketing. So if people identify with your story, and at the end of your story, you provide them with more information about how they can find out uh, more about what has changed your life, more about the value that you're talking about. They want to learn more. They want to opt into your funnel, and this is basically it's called a capture page, a landing page, an opt-in page. All of these things are the beginning of the funnel, and then from the funnel, right, which is basically there's two parts to it. There's the opt-in, and then there is the bridge, right? We're talking about bridging the gap of separation, and basically, usually what the opt-in is, it's also called the landing page or squeeze page, is
Right, where they put in their name and their email usually.
right. It's the page where you have to put in your name and your email to get access to your information. And then there's a bridge page that is maybe just a 2-minute video of you saying, "Hi, this is uh, how it's affected me." You basically just welcoming people and
Right.
and saying hello, and then you direct them to. I don't want that. I want,
Continue on. Just give me 5 seconds, James.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do it. I'm just following these arrows here, and then the funnel goes to your value. And usually, so if you're working with an affiliate program, usually they'll have video sales letters for you. Like if you're working with Empower, we have video sales letters that do the selling for you. And basically, uh, our whole job is to create our story and create an opt-in bridge page funnel. Now, if you're working your own business, right, you have to create your own video sales letter. Um, and we teach. This is the foundational aspects of what we teach here in our marketing within our program. And if you're new, you're getting started, and you're wondering, how can I get better results? Creating community, creating business on the internet, using the internet. This right here, this simple little 3-step formula is everything and all that you should be focused on if
Hmm.
you need to make money in your business, right? This
Yeah.
is
Now a lot of people are using a system like this on the internet, or people who are familiar with the internet, but Empower provides a very clear format for these things and has found success for a lot of people, and a lot of industry leaders are involved with it. So it provides a very clear and excellent format that's been created by quite a few people. So it's an excellent inroad whether you're really advanced at the internet or if you're just beginning.
Yeah, so developing people's stories and then creating the landing page and the opt and the bridge page are pretty much what we focus on helping people with and assisting people with in the Empower program. And if you're new or you're just getting started and you want to learn more about this process, how to create a engaging story that people fall in love with on the internet, how to create these landing pages and bridge pages, they're very simple. I show you. Our tools that we use with Kalatu and InstaBuilder Command, like the page you're watching right now, right? We create these in just minutes, right? Very simple. Um, so
Everything's built in.
everything is built in, right? So using this technique, right? This formula that we share of embracing doubt, right? We we want to engage people with on the internet with our story. People if people are doubting your capabilities as a superhero, right? You're doubting your capabilities, that value. It's okay. People just don't know what they don't know, right? But
Right.
share a story that can inspire a person, right, to want to inquire. Now you're sharing a story that is going to lead a person to possibly, doubt doubt you, right? It's like, is this real?
Sure, sure.
But if they want to inquire, right, because they want to find out more. So when people inquire, then they click on the link and they go to your landing page where they opt in and find out the truth,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
So that's how that works. That's how this formula works, and that's how you can apply that formula in your life and business to begin to see the results that you're looking to create.
Yeah, and that's one of the strong things that drew me to this was different pieces of information allowed me to understand that it had a certain level of truth, and that's where I resonated with it.
Uh,
Something you'd like to read from?
yeah, I just want to share a couple last things from this book on yoga, and then this book on business, and share the comparative process of those two, and then we'll sign off and get to work, or
Great.
uh, or get to love is how I like to say it, because my work is my love, because I love telling stories and sharing truth with people, right, and waking people up. Um, but the sixth limb of yoga, as described in this book, um, Dharana, is called building on to unity. And what better understanding I think we have as reading. I'm actually reading the book, and our commitment is to read. And it's holding on to unity. I actually feel like I'm holding on to unity as I'm reading the book. Reading the stories
Yeah,
that
some books are special like that,
that bridge the separation. So
no doubt.
that's that's what we get from yoga. I thought that was interesting to share that correlation. So now, what is the wealth building asset that goes into this as well? Um, so if you do everything that we shared on this webinar, right, which is basically, to keep things simple, just the commitment of reading, right? But I like to say that uh, what goes hand in hand is with reading is writing, right? Because we're reading so that we can write our own stories, right? Share our own stories.
Read and write, read and write.
So the sixth wealth building asset that Robert Kiyosaki writes about in this book for business of the 21st century is incomparable leadership skills, and that's what you're going to get if you commit to this core commitment of reading. If you use this formula, right, that I shared with you tonight, you're going to get this asset of incomparable leadership skills. So that's your invincibility tip for today. I'm James Tipton. This is my buddy Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I mean, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Um, I just enjoyed being here today. I think it really came together nicely, and I'm glad we were able to do this. And it seems to be coming together really nice. I'm enjoying you describing your system, with our system. It's really insightful. It's giving me insights, and I think it's going to help a lot of people. I'm glad you're able to describe it because I like your story, and I'm developing mine as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Chris, and thank you guys for watching. Here's some questions to consider if you're following along with us. Either if you're on the page, you can answer these down below, or in your private journal, or if you're in social media with us, or writing your blogs, right? Answer these questions, right? When was a time in your past that you felt separated, right? And what was it that, when you inquired, gave you a sense of truth, right? Answer this question and,
Good
uh,
question.
and use this in crafting your story, right? And go ahead and share it publicly in the comments here, write it on your blog, share it on social media, and use Colloquial Premium and the InstaBuilder system to craft your bridge page and
Hmm.
landing page.
And you can link up with James there right on the button on the page there if you want. Or if you're on one of the pages I'm sending out, there will be a button
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah, we should mention that this week and this week only, I'm doing a $2 special. Right? So you can actually get started with the trial version of our program, $2, and you can work with me personally. And
Yeah, and the truth is, it's going to reflect your own inspiration. So you can start in at a very small level and commit to the level you want to, according to the results you want. So it's really a sort of a, a system where you don't really have a lot to lose, but a lot to gain.
And there is something magical, I think, that happens when you make the decision to pull out your credit card and buy. That as soon as the money transfer happens, the energy exchange happens, is you actually begin to feel some power. It's actually because you get me and Chris, and you get the entire Empower network sort of sending you some energy, right? That's going to help you get the results that you want. So we're here to help share your story, preference, story, and get you to a place where money, where health, love, where happiness, where the separation of these things, right?
Mhm.
We're going to eliminate.
You can
And
craft your own story to help evolve your own life.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and we're just going to raise the level of frequency and energy in your life and business, so that you can be on this the highest state of vibrational frequency, and you can embody these superpowers, and you can be this superhero of truth and
Which you
justice,
are.
love, which we're just going to be reminding you that you are, um, as you activate these powers inside you, so you can go out and achieve the success you deserve.
Yeah, you do. So I'm
So
glad we were able to share this today. Thanks, James.
we love you. Make a decision to get started, and we'll see you on the next Invincibility Tips.
Thanks for joining us.